Okay, now we're going to be working on unwrapping our character. Last time we modeled it, and now we're going to unwrap it. Right click, convert to editable poly, and I'm going to press F4. Now, the character still could use a lot more work, but we're going to say this is enough. I'm going to go to modifiers, go down, unwrap UVW, or you can press X, unwrap. Now the green lines are its automatic unwrap, which are always wrong. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go to open UVW. Now we can see that that's crazy wrong. I'm just going to click all this. I'm just going to scoot it down like this. And what this is going to do is if I click this here and I pick texture checker and I look at it and I press F4, I can see that he's not unwrapped anywhere. And this makes it really easy to figure out when I need to fix something. So the first thing I'm going to do, F4 to see lines, is I'm going to cut it like he's like where a shirt is cut. So I'm going to press 2 to go to edges, and we go to point to point. That's this tool, and it's going to let me click. And I'm just going to go around like your t-shirt is, right where the sleeves connects. Like this, go all the way around. And then I'm going to cut the hole for the head out. I'm just going to click here, go around. Now this blue is making it hard for me to see, so I'm going to click off here, and I'm going to move the characters section, this stuff, to a section that is a completely different color, like that. I'm going to go back to my cut tool, point to point. I'm going to go around. Arm off, and sometimes you get very lucky and you'll be able to use this mirror. Sometimes it's incredible when it works, but a lot of times it has trouble figuring it out. Let's go here, make sure I get the exact same polygons. Ooh, I messed that side up. So I'm going to hold Alt and click like that to remove those. Let's see if I can get it to work here. See, it doesn't kind of want to follow it. Make sure it's the same on both sides. Now, your t-shirt has a slice across this section, so do that like that. And that worked out. And then I'm going to turn point to point off, and I'm going to say right where your pants go through here. I'm going to double click right here. And I'm going to say convert edges to seams. And then I'm going to go point to point down like this where the seam of your t-shirt is. Now on long sleeve shirts, I'm going to double click here. Make sure it goes all the way around. Convert to seam. Okay. Now I'm going to imagine these are like gloves. So I'm going to go point to point. I'm going to click. And you want to make sure that while you're modeling your character, you think about how you're going to have to unwrap them. That's why I have this seam through the middle. And the point to point will make mistakes. So you just want to make sure you're checking it. Make sure it worked on both sides. Now for the head, I'm going to cut anything that sticks out like these ears off. And then there are two sides of them. So I'm just going to cut like this. So it's got a front and a back. I believe that's going to work. Now, the face, I'm going to cut the snout off. I'm just going to click, click. Now, this right here is an error from the symmetry. I'm going to have to fix this in the editable poly section. Now, I want to cut the mouth, the inside off. So I'm going to turn off point to point. I guess I will use point to point. Outside of the mouth. And I'm going to cut the mouth in the middle. Let's see if I can just double click it and get it. Hold Control, select, like that. Make seams. That'll likely work. Now for the face, so the hole in the center. No, I think I'm not going to cut this section off. So I'm going to go Control Scenes, just going to click and cut this bottom section of the mouth off. And, let's see. If something sticks out too far, you almost always want to cut it off. But I'm going to cut the head in half. So I'm just going to click here, go up. The section behind the ears will be strange. No, it might work. Let's see. Let's go down. Now your pants, they cut through the side like this. So I'm going to double click, and then I'm going to hold Alt so I can subtract all the sections above, like that. And that's good. So I'm going to make seam. I'm going to cut them off at the foot here, like this. I'm going to make a cut through here. And I'm going to show you how I know where these cuts are supposed to go. First, I'm going to cut the tail off. This section that changes sizes. And I'm going to cut it through the bottom. That right through here, I need a symmetry, so I'm just going to click. You want to try to hide your seams, because this one going right on top is actually not a good idea. You need one more edge through here. I'm going to put it there anyways, because the seam should go through the side. Down. You seam right through the middle of the pants. This is another error for the symmetry, but we'll fix that in just a second. I'll make sure that it doesn't actually And now how I'm going to know if these work or not. So I'm going to go to polygons or press 3 and pick a selection. I'm going to turn mirror off because it actually messes with the pelt map. I'm going to say go expand polygon selection seams. That grabs that. I'm going to hit pelt. I'm going to make sure I have this settings to not unfold 3D optimize, but polygon angles. I'm going to hit start pelt, start relax. And I'm just going to sweep those over here. And I'm going to go to, instead of texture checker, I'm going to go to area distortion. And what this will do is any area that's too squished will be red and too stretched will be blue. So if I grab this and link it down, it turns red. It means it's too squished. If it's blue, it's too big. So I'm just going to work my way around this character. Click, pelt. Getting rid of all of the red is pretty much impossible, but you can get through a bunch of it. I forgot a seam through the arms, so I'm just going to press 2 to go to edges, point to point, and follow this here. Just think about how your clothes, where the seams on them go. This section, belt. This is a little weird. It's got to do what I tell it to. It's not even trying to help. There it is. Scooting to the side, working my way around. Kind of getting a weird error. Hand, pelt. You won't have to click all of these. There's just something weird up with Max. This Unwrap has had a problem for a little while. Leg. You're likely to have to cut a section right through the knee, but I want to make sure. I want to scoot them far enough away that if I have to select them as separate pieces again, I won't have this problem. A little bit of red in there. That's how the pelt's supposed to work. It's got a really strange error. What a strange problem. The blacks will mess it up if the pelt's not working. Now, if this happens to you, something's wrong with the computer and it's just not being friendly. I'm just gonna tilt, relax. It may not be working perfectly, but I'm going to separate these sections so I can easily grab them like this, any one of them. Just going to try to hit everything really quickly so that they're in separate groups, even if it doesn't work. Come back through and save it. See, that's an error. It's damaging other sections of the unwrap. See this piece here? B is max error that we have not found any solutions to. Hopefully Autodesk is working on it. Now it is causing trouble, but as long as I can get the majority of this to be unwrapped, so I don't have to re-put in the same details. It looks like the mirror didn't copy to this side. First two, point to point, click, 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 click. Read good faces. Relax settings. Hopefully Autodesk will address these issues, because that's not correct, but it's enough that I'll be able to fix it. Right now, it's not even trying to pelt or relax. Just trying to get as much of it as I can so I don't have to redraw the seams. The inside of the eyes. Now, the inside of the eyes, I'm going to Alt Q. I'm going to select like this, and I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to hit Grow. And I'm going to say, first of all, do it both at the same time. Grow, grow, save. Help. Now, that's crazy wrong, but I'll come back for it. Here's errors abound. Each one of these buttons here makes our lives easier, but I'm trying to stick to just some very simple ones so that we learn those and get them taken care of. Back side of the arm. Tail. It's not behaving normally. Okay. Now, there's lots of problems with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and say convert to editable poly. And I'm going to save this file, save as. So this is 4. And I'm going to go to File, Reset. This will reset all of Mac's factory default settings. I'm going to go to File, Open Recent, X, Unwrap UVW. I'm going to turn off map seams, open UV editor, and my seams are gone, but I still have the objects themselves. So what that allows me to do is easily select them and do the pelt again until it works. See, because that's working correctly. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take all of this. No, let's start with this one. I'm going to say anything that's not done is going to be on this side so I can keep track of it. I'm just going to grab each one of these and just go pelt. Screw it over here. Make sure there's room enough where they're separate so that I can easily fix them again in case something goes wrong. And I'm going to turn on the texture checker map so I can see where the distortions are. Go to area distortion. I wonder if it's the area distortion that's causing trouble. Looks like it is something wrong with its calculation. Just make sure that they're not in a way that, like, it would be very difficult to select that again because I get this one. I just want to make sure that I put them in a way that I can easily get to them. There's an automatic function that does a lot of this, but if you learn to use it before you know how to do this, what's going to happen is when it doesn't work or it fails, you will not be able to fix your problem. But if you learn it this way, you can still fix the problems. Just like how ZBrush is a great program, unless you don't know how to do this, then you won't be able to retopologize your characters, and that means they're going to have way too many polygons. And ZBrush's automatic topology is going to create characters that are not going to have optimal poly counts. They're not going to have angle. They're not going to have the shapes where you need them when you're animating and texturing them. Like where I put this section, this line right through the hand to open it like a glove, it's not going to put that there. So it's going to make unwrapping the hand just really terrible. A little closer to me. I'm going to press F4 over here so I can see, because what I want is this is distorted, but this isn't. And so I want to make sure that everything that's getting put together is getting slowly more accurate. Now the tail lost its seam in the center. Oh, this Max may not be happy. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw my seam through, F4 to see lines. I'm going to go 2. Not very likely to be one on the top. 3 for edges. sure these are aligned. F4. That's much better. That's madness. Let's see. No, that actually looks pretty decent. I'm just looking for something that's like this weird distortions. Actually, it's pretty decent. What else did you grab? Eyeball, that's the problem. Where's your trouble coming from? Optimized 3D, still having a problem. I want to make sure that sections aren't overlapping like this here. I'm just going to grab it, scoot down just a touch. If it's overlapping, whatever I put there is going to mess up the other half. It's this way. Now, when something does that, it means that it can't unwrap it properly. And that means that it comes to these edges at more than 45 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this back edge, let's press F4, and I'm going to tilt it itself like that. Here. Now, I need a seam through here, so I'm just going to go seam to this one. That. Here, top and bottom. You have to make sure you unwrap everything. That's strange. I think it's all right. Getting closer and closer. Don't want the fingers across like that. I'm just hitting apply instead of letting it do it by itself. Okay, F4, let's make sure that all of the little squares are about the same size. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to go to Tools, Pack UVs. It's going to put them all in that little square. I'm going to say Rotate Clusters, Fill Holes. Just hit OK, zoom in. Make sure all the squares are the same size. So there's no wild distortion. pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to right click, convert to editable poly. I'm going to save. Let me say 5. Let me say unwrap, just to tell me what's happening. Now I'm going to press F4, and I'm going to go to the side view, which is F for the front. I press 1 on my keyboard, and I'm just going to delete half of this guy. Fix that as well. Just making sure that I got everything that's half. Press F3 to see through to make sure. Press F3, press delete. I'm going to take this edge, I'm going to press 2, hold down Control, and hit move. Same thing here, hold Control, hit remove. Press P to go back into perspective, check the other side. Just making sure there's any errors. I'm going to press 1 again. I'm going to go to Symmetry. I'm going to go to Modify, go down to Symmetry, where I can press X, S, Y, M, flip, press 1 so I can move it around. Convert to editable poly. Now I'm going to press X, unwrap. I'm going to open UV editor. Now what this did is it put all of the UVs on top of each other. So everything that I do to this arm in Photoshop will be done to this arm. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my life easier. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to arrange them so that I can more easily work on them in Photoshop. Let me take this hand and put it down here. See what this is. That's the back. And so this is the top of the back. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to turn off these grids because they're driving me crazy. I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to flip it upside down so it's easier to work on, holding Control to snap it. Foot. That's the leg. Now that's the top. I'm just going to rotate it like this. Put it here. It's the other leg. Notice the arms. This way. I'm just trying to make it in a way that when I'm in Photoshop, I'll know what I'm dealing with. Tail. That's the back end of the tail. Turn it this way. Yep. Substance Painter makes a lot of this easier, but I need to learn these techniques for when Substance Painter won't work. Hands together. Eye sockets, or they part of the eye socket. Just pieces that I know are going to be red because they don't see the sun. I'm kind of put them together. Ears. This is the front of the ears. This is the back of the ears. All right. It's the chest, and then it's upside down. Yep. here. The pack doesn't actually care about how it puts things together, and so it can make it a little difficult to work with when you're in Photoshop. Face, very important. It's next to the face. Arms, the back of the arms. I want to put the arms together. Put these feet together. The bottom, this is the top. Okay. Put the legs together. It's the back. This is the front. I just have this scheme that says if something's on the right side of it, that means it's the front of it. So these two objects, front, back, this is the back. So I want this one on the other side. Just when I'm in Photoshop, I know what I'm working with. That's the back, so we'll need that. Another spot. Some of these ideas may seem strange, but they have made my life a lot easier. Front. Front. Back. I'm trying to take up as little room as possible so that I can expand this texture further. Stuff like this. Go here. I want as much resolution as I can get out of this single picture texture that I'm going to be using. A little bit. Seems painstaking, but there's a reason why all this stuff is being done. Now, this much of this texture has nothing in it. So what I want to do is I'm just going to hold down Control to scale it. I'm going to try to get as much as I possibly can inside this box. I don't want to touch this line because it doesn't read anything. Some things read a little bit inside of the box, some read a little bit outside of the box, and so you have to make sure different programs deal with it differently. That's better. That will give us a higher resolution for each of our pieces. Hide the grid here. And I think that's pretty good. I'm going to right click, convert to editable poly. File, save as. Name this 6. That's modeling and unwrapping the character. Next time we'll go through texturing and making the character look like an actual lion. Okay.